subject line if I can elevate it even more?
The purpose of the subject line, well, first, I do respect that this is a real pain point for a lot of organizations. That subject line, they stress. And one thing, it's a little difficult to use my voice without a visual, but I'll do my best, because one thing folks have to understand about the subject line is the real role of the subject line is not to be per se informative. It's more to be visually noticeable. If you think about people's behavior when they're going through their inbox, particularly on a smartphone, they're zipping through email after email after email, zipping up and down that inbox. And so it's the subject line that looks a little different that might get the open. But one thing I do coach small businesses on is to make sure that they're focused mostly on the from name. Who the email is being sent from is far more important than the subject line, because that's actually what makes people slow down, is who sent the email.
Very, very good tip there. Because that's what everyone wants to do, is get those emails opened, and that's going to be the key trigger point there. Well, I know we're down to just about 4 minutes, and then you're going to have to leave us. So I think one of the questions we are often asked is, what is mobile responsive in the email business?
Great question. And in fact, if you could rename my position from national product trainer to guy who talks about mobile responsive a lot, it'd probably be apt. Mobile responsive should be something that every organization that does email marketing, no matter what tool they use, should be critically concerned about. What that means in a nutshell is that the email, when it's received on a PC, a Mac, or a tablet, looks one way, it looks formatted for that device, and when it's received on a mobile device, it looks perfect for the mobile device. And one thing that makes Constant Contact so great is that all of our templates are mobile responsive. The email will change itself based on the device. And the reason why that's so important is because roughly 50% of a typical audience is going to be opening an email on a mobile device. And when that email doesn't look good for mobile, a significant number of people are going to unsubscribe or even mark that email as spam. And so having an email look great on mobile is critical to growing a business.
That's huge. That is huge. And I know that we share, I know when we're showing our clients, or whether in a workshop or one-on-one, we do show them the difference. And it does surprise them. They are not even aware. But we always ask, what's your behavior?
I love that concept, Sherry, because if a small business owner or a small nonprofit just paid attention to their own behavior when it comes to email, they might realize that they probably need to seek out some training and get advice from folks like you, because an average email subscriber on a mobile device is only spending about 5 to 10 seconds with an email. And so an email with a lot of content and tons of things to look at that you scroll probably isn't going to be very effective for a small business. And so not only do we have to make sure that we put in content that engages an audience, but we have to make sure that that content is short and relevant enough to the audience we're sending it to, especially for mobile readers.
Oh, so well said. But if it's not simple, if it's not quickly impressing your mind with some sort of organic thought, you're out of there. Life's too short.
Well, one of my favorite statements to an audience, and it's very true, is that one thing we need to make sure small businesses and nonprofits out there understand is that the email is no longer the message. Used to be the message 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it used to be the message. Now the email is an advertisement for the message. People are spending so little time with an email. We need to make the impression on people, get them to click, where then they can get to the message. The message belongs on a website. The message belongs on a blog. The message belongs on social media. Where the message doesn't belong is in the email. The email is just a vehicle to get people from one place to the other extremely quickly and efficiently.
That is the best tip that you have just provided for our audience by far. I mean, you've given so much information in the last 20 minutes, but that there is a trigger. And I do know myself, we're changing up our whole email, weekly email for our business tips starting this next quarter because of things we're learning from you. And that is just powerful, what you just said about that the message does not belong in the email.
Well, thank you for the nice words. And, that comes to the core belief at Constant Contact, kind of coming back to the concept of why Constant Contact. Constant Contact believes that education is critical. And our internal mantra is a small business success is Constant Contact success. Constant Contact can literally not succeed unless we help smaller organizations, small businesses, small nonprofits, and our partners like you two. Unless we help them grow, we're not going to grow. And so lead the industry with education first, because that's what's going to help people become more successful.
Most definitely. And that is why we have partnered with Constant Contact as well. And we introduce Constant Contact every week here on the So Social Radio Show as one of our partners, because it is an honor to be, working with them. And we're partners, and I love it. And we thank you so much, Matthew, for taking the time today and joining us. And I know we're looking forward to our next training with you. So
it's going to be coming soon.
It is.
Thank you for having me, and I apologize to everybody for the short amount of time. I'm literally, speaking of education, jumping off of this and doing an hour-long presentation. So no rest for the weary.
Like we began, life is so hectic that we have to find these niches like email, like Constant Contact, to carry our marketing messages through blogs and social media to an endpoint, to a concluding point. And we really do appreciate everything that you have done for us and for our audience today.
So thank you.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So with that, we're going to say adios to Matthew, and we're going to get talking on some more great topics we're going to continue the conversation, I should say, with email marketing. So bye-bye, Matt. Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Wow, what an awesome treat. I mean, this guy, if you ever have an opportunity to go to a Constant Contact meeting and Matthew's on the list, hey, go.
Definitely.
It'll blow you away. You'll be so educated when you leave there. Your mind will just be rattling.
Well, we drove all the way to Tallahassee to meet him the very first time and to sit in one of his trainings. And then just a few weeks ago, we were in Orlando. We're very blessed here. Our Constant Contact team, we have a group of us here in the Central Florida area that we're led by Pamela Starr, our regional director here, but Matthew does a lot of training here. So again, we're very blessed to have him. And what is great is we're able to take what we learn from him and bring to you, our audience here on the radio show, as well as in our workshops. So definitely stay tuned for more coming up on email. But let's go ahead and mention our partners here, and then get talking about email. If you have any questions that you would like to ask us, you can go to So Social Radio Show on Facebook. There is a pinned post there on this page, has a great picture of Matthew, so you know who we were just talking to. But on that pinned post in the comments, if you have any questions about email, please do post those here while we continue our show here today, responding to some questions we've received on email. So, Richard, let's give a shout out to our partners today.
Well, I'd like to begin with the AVET project. AVETproject.org on the internet. Kim and Garen Cohn do a magnificent job with the AVET project and serving our veterans, and they go so far above and beyond that every other organization that's out there with veterans looks up to them, or should look up to them, because of their personal care and concern.
And we gave a shout out to Constant Contact, as you know, that is a partner of ours, and we just were blessed to having Matthew, one of their top trainers, with us. But right now, and actually it expires on the end of this month, September 30th, you can actually try 3 months of Constant Contact at a 30% discount.
Wow.
So if you have up to 500 emails, it's normally $20 a month, but you can actually, over the next 3 months, it'd be $14 a month. All you need to do is go to our link, and it is a bit.ly link, and I'll post that here in our post here on social media as well, but it's a bit.ly / and then uppercase WCNCC and then lowercase email. So WCNCC email, and just make email lowercase. But if you go to that link, it'll bring you up a sign-up form. You go ahead and sign up, and then when you go into the account and apply the code 2016 SAVE, that's SAVE, and that is uppercase. And again, I'll put that here on our So Social Radio Show page. So give it a try. As you just heard from Matthew, you need to.
Email converts better to revenue on the internet than anything else that's out there.
Exactly.
Do it on that. Also want to talk about Everything Brevard. Tracy Stoddard does so much in publicizing the events and happenings in Brevard County, Florida. And, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening in Brevard, and get your listed business on Everything Brevard too, contact Tracy at everythingbrevard.com.
Email, as Richard just said, is powerful. And one of the challenges that I hear often is, I send these emails out, but they're not getting opened. They're not getting read. I'm not really getting any results. So that's the type of questions and the conversation we want to start having right now, is just how to get those emails open. And Matthew actually shared a lot in those short 20 minutes, but the importance of knowing and understanding your subject line, not making it informative, but really making it visual. And I want to give another tip on the subject line that is another thing to think about. It's a 222 rule. That's the 3 number 2s. But and again, think of your own behavior when you have an email land in your inbox. The first thing you do look at or see is the subject line and then who it's from. So those two things are very important. So make sure that you are allowing people to know, they know who you are. So make sure that from line is from you and not from an info ad or et cetera, but your name. But the 222 rule is that when you first look at a subject line, in those first 2 seconds, that is going to determine whether or not, in the first 2 seconds, I should say, you see those first 2 words. And those first 2 words in that subject line are going to determine whether or not you open it up today. Or as I say, if you're not opening it up today, then you're putting it on your to-do list to do later. And who actually opens up emails that they flag and put away for later?
Not this guy.
Very rarely.
My mind's on to different things. I've got other things that I want to do. I have new emails coming in that I want to look at, I want to read, I want to respond to. So, it gets back down to that someday, should I ever have absolutely nothing to do? And I am looking forward to that day sometime.
Yes. So definitely keep your subject line short, down to no more. I say 3, 4, 5 words max. I think it's down to like 55 characters if you look at some of the experts out there. But you really want to make sure that, in the first 2 seconds, when your recipient sees that email and sees those first 2 words, they will have that enticement to absolutely open it up today.
It has to be irresistible.
Yes.
And the best place to go listen, in my opinion, for how to do this is when you're driving around in your car and you're listening to radio, whether it's AM, FM, internet, it doesn't matter. Listen to the ads that are on there trying to capture you. When you're on TV in the evening, what are they saying? Especially in those 30-second commercials. Mm-hmm. What are the words they're using to get you? Because, in email, you're sitting there on your computer, laptop, desktop, tablet, smartphone, whatever, you can respond immediately. But on TV, radio, you've got to wait till you get back to that device, especially if you're driving. So just listen to those words and start jotting them down. Just, get a pen, pencil, piece of paper, and keep it with you when you're vegging out.
Most definitely. And also, do not be misleading in your subject line. I cannot tell you how many emails come through into my inbox, and the subject line really does entice me, and I click on it, and then the email has nothing to do with that subject line. To me, that is spam. So do not be one of those people. Make sure that the body of your message in your email is in alignment with the subject line, so that people are not misled, and then because they won't trust you. Then you want to really build a trust relationship, and definitely remember what Matthew just shared with us, is that message in your email is basically the advertising for the message, and you want to give a strong call to action to take them further to one of your social media sites, to your blog, to your website, where they can learn more.
Yeah, again, we're in what I like to call the silly season, the election season. But if you're watching the ads from any of the politicians, from the presidents on down to whatever the lowest one is, listen to their messages. Listen to how they're crafting their words. Read it in magazines and newspapers. See what they're doing. This is an excellent time to really gain some strong knowledge of the word base that they're using in trying to attract you and trying to get you to take action to go to their website or go to their blog and these things. So we have a great educational section that